Welcome everyone. Today I have a very exciting Path of Exile 2 currency making guide. Now looking behind me, I have prepared over 7 pages of notes with over 10 different methods to teach you guys how to make currencies in Path of Exile 2. And trust me guys, I have been seeing a lot of comments saying, I don't even have Divine Orbs, how do I get started? So in this video, no matter if you want to be doing trading, crafting, or even just farming and also mapping, I'll have a method for you because we have over 10 different methods. I'll be teaching you guys how to look for items, how to be trading items, how to be making over 5 or 10 divines, as you can see with my friend's chat, and also what are the ways of using your gold to exchange for additional Exalted orbs in the market. I have done calculations over here and a lot of good stuff that it is available for you guys to make profit as you use those calculators. For example, we have the 6-link gem calculator, we have the chance shard and also chance orb calculator, which I'll teach you guys how to make additional profit, and we look at the risk of investing in those methods. And together with showing you guys how step by step of trading in exchange or just buying items in bulk and also selling them, you can make over 30 or even hundreds of profits. You can also be selling your stash of rare items or selling your maps for additional gold, or selling the gold for additional divine orbs and also exalted orbs. And there's tons of ways of making profits in the game. If you're playing in the maps, long as you pick up those maps, you can be selling them for divines. And I'm not joking guys, look at this. Players are selling this entire stash for 1 divine, and those are getting sold very fast. So yes, whether you want to be playing the game, you want to be trading, we have a method. We'll also have method of flipping or selling trial keys in bulk, and also how to be getting those items, how to be using those items to farm. I have had a friend who farmed over 20 days now following our method, and he has made over 700 divines together with a mirror using this method, which I'll talk about in that one. And yes guys, there's tons of ways I want to share with you guys. There's the latest trade filtering and also crafting. There's the cathedral farming, which I'll teach you guys, or will remind you guys of how to choose those up for additional fragments and also how to find them. Together with gold gambling and also crafting, and also advanced crafting method, which a player was able to make over 1000 divines using this method. Together with the calculators that is available for 6-link gems and also 5-link gems, which I have made a few divines just using this method that I'll show you guys live in the video. So yes, a super mega guide to teach you how to make currencies in Path of Exile 2. And you can start with nothing. You can start with 1 Exalted orb. I'll teach you guys how to make your first divine, your second divine, your 5th divine, your 10, 20, 30 divines this way using those methods. And we'll briefly talk about gambling, we'll briefly talk about mapping, and also more guides to come in the future to cover everything for Path of Exile 2. So coming over to our notes, as you can see at the start, even the introduction took like 2 to 3 minutes, and I do recommend using the timestamps to see which method you want to be using. Sometimes there's method that combine with method number 1 and also method number 2 to make even more profit as I explain those methods to you guys. So coming over to the first method. Now, I do want to refer back to this screenshot, and of course the items are not selling for 1 exalt, but sometimes you can pick up for 1 exalt. Notice as I'm spamming people to buy those amulets for 5, 10 exalt, this guy actually messaged me back saying he wants to buy my stellar amulets for 20 exalt. So what's been happening is that ever since we posted our latest gambling guide video, I was talking about gambling and also how profitable it is if you can buy the stellar amulet for 20 exalt. And that was the market price. So what some of my friends actually noticed is that here, this is one of my friends on Discord. He was buying those and gambling and he was losing everything. And I recommended him to not gamble, but rather buy those amulets for cheaper and then reselling them. He listened to my advice. He sold about 20 of those amulets that he bought under 20 exalt. Those amulets that I have the filters ready for you guys. So notice here they're selling for 10, 10, 15 each. He bought those amulets for under 20 exalt, then he sold them for 32 exalt each in bulk and made 5.5 divines just by doing that. So yes, this first method will look into gathering and also getting cheap chance of base items. So what does that mean? If we come over to this Reddit post, this is actually from SSB Gifts over here. Thank you to him for sharing this one. You can see there's a number of base items that can be used by chance orbs. And by the looks of it, one of the most popular ones are the stellar amulets. So If you use our trade filters, which I'll provide to you guys, you can see that I am filtering for those items from 1 Exalt to 15 Exalt. And whenever they come up, if you use a live search, you can be messaging the sellers. It is a little harder to pick them up for 1 Exalt now. Sometimes you can buy them for 5 or 10 or even 15 Exalt. And once you have bought those amulets, there's 2 ways of doing this. You can resell them for about 20, 25 or 30 Exalt. Especially when you have a lot of them, they will be bulk buyers. Now, this particular method will take a little bit of time, and this is the actively trading method. But you can see my friend here has succeeded in making over 5 divines just using this method in buying them cheap and selling them in bulk, which is surprisingly good. So the disadvantage of this method is that it will take you 10 to 20 messages before someone sells to you. And yes, I did buy one just now as an example. I bought this one for about 15 Exalt. I'm slowly bringing this down to 20 Exalt as an example. I think if I put to 20 Exalt, it will sell very fast. And I'll just show you guys live. If I get a message, you guys can see this one live as a demonstration. So the good thing about this method, it is a low risk. Usually at 20 Exalt, it is guaranteed to sell and people will be buying a lot of those. The downside is it might take you a while to get used to, and as more people do this method, well, there's too many competitors, it may be harder to buy and also selling them in bulk. But don't worry guys, we have a lot more other method. So the question is, why are people buying those amulets? It is because of this particular amulet that is very, very popular, and we do have a gambling guide, if you haven't seen it, to see one of my friends who was able to make tons of divines in hitting this amulet. Now during this time, you can use a similar method that doesn't have to involve the stellar amulet. You can use a different base that is shared over here by the Reddit post. You can find a base that is more profitable to flip between those base items. But at the moment, this is the example. If I share the other bases and everyone does it, it won't be profitable, right? So I'm recommending following the Reddit guide to see which base is profitable, price checking them, and then using a similar method to be bulk selling those. And yes, guys, a lot of people are buying those amulets in bulk because they want to be gambling. Now this also brings us to the second method. Now the second method doesn't involve you to be messaging a lot of people, which is definitely a plus. The second method is very simple. So if I come over to my Excel calculator over here, and what I want to show you guys is, here are the prices in the exchange currently during the recording of this video to be buying a chance shard for Exalted Orbs. If you look at the price, look at the volume, the fair price or the average price is about 1.5. So every Exalt buys you 1.5 chance shard. If you get 10 chance shard, you'll have a chance orb. And the chance orb is selling for around, over here, it is selling for around 7.5 Exalt or close to 7.7 Exalt if you look at the volume closely. So there is arbitrage, there's also free profit to be made if you do this correctly. So basically what you're doing is, you're buying chance shard with Exalted Orbs, you're price checking on the calculator I made for you guys, and then you're coming back over here to be selling the chance orbs for Exalt, and you repeat this process. And as long as you set a good profit margin, you will be making additional Exalted Orbs just by using the gold you have. And this will quickly wrap up from 1 Exalt, 10 to 20 to 1 Divine using this method. So in order to give you guys a live demonstration, let's look at the prices that is screenshot over here. So for example, if I am getting the chance shard for 1.4, which is the kind of the most competing price, and yes guys, you come over to the exchange, you hold down Alt to see this additional information. Very important to know this. So here I'm going to come over to my calculator, and the calculator is going to be called, which one is that? Oh, I have so many notes over here. So make sure you guys check the free Exalt using gold and exchange calculator. It is at the bottom. I have a lot of guides over here. So for this one, I'm going to set this as 1.4. So every Exalt is going to give me 1.4. And notice everything changes. And here, the other example here is, let's say if I'm selling chance orbs for 7.5. So 7.5. And this will show me after expending my gold, what is the profit. But if you guys have a lot of spare gold, this is a profit if your gold is coming for free. This is a profit if I'm buying gold, as you can see in the next guide, the next part, you can actually buy and sell gold. So this is a profit you get if you have a lot of gold. This is a profit you get if you're actually buying gold like me in the game. Now, the profit margin is actually much bigger. People, what I usually do is, I look at the volume over here. it is likely I can buy those on a longer period for 1.5. So I'm going to set this one to 1.5. And over here, I am going to come back over here. And what I want to see is I can set this one to 7.7 because of the volume over here. So it is important to understand how to rate those, and I'll teach you guys very soon. Once you set those margins, you can see that every flips, I am making one Exalt once I complete this entire flip. And I'm making a lot of Exalt, even though I'm buying my gold using Exalt orbs, I'm still making 0.85 Exalt orbs. And of course, guys, you can use similar method to be flipping items with a bigger spread. But I've found that by far, if you flip items 3 ways, like Exalted Orbs into Chance Shard, then Chance Orbs, and then selling back to Exalted Orbs, this is the best way. So how do you want to rate the volume? So what you want to rate is, you look at the competing volume. If you're buying this item, you look at the competing trades and you look at the biggest volume. The biggest volume usually shows the fair market price, while the ones on top can be people just trying to buy them for quickly. If you want to buy them quickly, you match the best competing price. If you want a fair price, you match the biggest volume. And similarly over here, if I am selling chance orbs, here I should have switched this one. If I'm selling chance orbs, this is how much people are selling those orbs. So people are selling them quickly for 7.5, 7.67. But if I want to sell for a good price, I'll be selling this one at 7.7. And those are the tricks and also method to be reading the market in the exchange. And of course, guys, once you understand this, you put in the values, the calculator will show you how much profit you'll be getting once you understand the whole system. Now, during this time, I also forgot. It is important for you guys to know how to download and also use this Excel. So coming over to Excel, I'll be moving this one a little forward so you can see the tab that where this is, because I have so many Excel calculators for Path of Exile 2. So make sure you come over to the right one, and then coming over to Files, go to Make a Copy, and make a copy of this Excel. And then you can change the numbers over here, because otherwise the calculator wouldn't work for you, right? So make sure you make a copy, and then this way you can change the values and also use all the calculators. So now coming over to the third method, which combines the first two methods. So how that works is you can be getting a bunch of chance-based items like the Stellar Amulet, and then you can also be getting a lot of chance orbs just because you're buying chance orbs through Chance Shard, which is much cheaper. And after that, instead of listing them individually, you can sell this one as a package. So the example I have over here is one of my friends actually bought with 120 Stellar Amulets, 120 Chance Orbs for around 30 Divine. And because a lot of rich Path of Exile 2 players likes to gamble, sometimes when they gamble, they like to have the whole package. And this is actually coming from my friend Royal's video actually. So if you had to look at that video, he actually hit Astral Rumors. And after hitting the Astral Rumors, he made 120 Divine sell. And in total, he made 90 Divine because of this investment. But, this is just to show that rich Path of Exile 2 players like to save their time. And if you provide a service, if you provide convenience, they will be happy to pay a little more premium. I'll teach you guys where to sell those items in bulk as well very soon. And before you do gambling yourself, remember guys, watch the gambling rates. It is not the best rate if you're doing gambling yourself. And also remember, here I was talking to my friend. Before this conversation, he was losing a lot of divines because he was gambling. But once he learns he can sell the items instead of gambling them, he was making so much more divines because of this. So coming over to our fourth method. Now we have mentioned this in one of the previous videos when I first discovered this amazing method to buying gold. Because I'm making videos all the time, one of the ways of me making more currency in the game is to actually AFK trading. But the limitation is I'm not mapping enough to make a lot of gold. So I actually learned to buy gold coming from some of my friends who taught me this method. And I started to make 10, 20, 30 divines as a trade, as a flip items. And as a discover new method for you guys. So for those of you that doesn't have any Exalt Orbs, you have nothing. So notice the first few methods, you actually can start with one Exalt Orbs if you can buy them for cheaper. The other method, if you actually have nothing, this is the method for you. What you want to do is you can be selling a full stash of rare items for around 15, 20 or 25 Exalt. Let me show you guys over here. A lot of players are posting one quote stash for 25 Exalt, sometimes 23. Depending on the item level, you can be selling around 17, 15, 20, 21, 25 Exalt. and there is a lot of bias depending on the time of the day, and I have been buying a lot of gold myself. So this means if you really short on Exalted Orbs, you get a full stash. This is a quad stash, by the way. So quad stash. And this means that, actually, did I spell this right? You can see this video for more details, of course, how to do this correctly, and also how to sell, and also how to buy your rare items with gold, and then kind of selling gold. So this way you can be getting a lot more currencies as you map, as you play any content. A lot of maps will be dropping rare items, and most of those items won't be selling for even 1 Exalt. So selling them in bulk will give you a lot of starting currency, then to be coming back for those other methods I mentioned earlier. Now during this time, I also want to give you guys advice of actually doing the method of selling for gold using maps. So what you can see is some of the players are actually here actively trying to list out maps as well to sell. I noticed that he's listing out a stash of maps to sell for 1 divine. And I have bought a lot of millions of gold myself this way as well. So I'm buying gold for 10,000 gold for 1 Exalt. And usually around 1 divine, that is pretty much 1 million gold. And look at this. As I explained earlier to you guys, this amulet sold. I bought this amulet for 15 Exalt, and I'll be selling this one for 20. This is a live demonstration, right? I wanted to show you guys this live. So I'll be selling this one, and I'll show you guys the recording when I bought this one for 15 Exalt. So that was 5 Exalt profit as I was making this video. So I'm going to say, Chiwai, good luck. So just to show you guys, I didn't make this up. Yes, here I messaged a bunch of people before making this video, knowing that this is a profitable method. So after messaging him, I bought it for 15 Exalt, and there you saw live as I was recording, I sold that item for 20 Exalt. So yes, the method I showed you guys back in the video with the first method works, and if I wasn't in a rush to sell it for 20, I can sell it for 25 or even 30 Exalt by flipping those amulets. And that's one of the methods demonstrated, right? Look, I started with 1 and also spent 15, now I got 20 Exalt. So there's a lot of methods you can be learning, and I want to share everything with you guys in this mega guide. So now coming back to the, the number 4 method. So yes, I kind of lost track as I was selling the amulet. So what happened is you can min and max the amount of gold you get with maps. So what is the example over here? Let me come over here to my map section. And for example, this is a map that is not crafted. This is a map that is more crafted. If you look into those maps, and if you craft those maps with currencies like the transmutation and also with the augmentation, let me show you guys over here. This map, oh, so many people, what happened? So this map currently sells for 880. This one sells for 8,000 gold. For more explanation, come over to this guide, which will teach you guys the method. But here, let me just show you guys over here. Sells for 880, right? But if I come back to my stash, I do a brief crafting, and then this one will sell for a little higher. This one sells for 1,500. The higher the tier it is, the more min and max you can do. And as you sell those maps to the vendors, you'll be making more gold. I'm keeping this one in case I want to use it. But you get the idea, right? So what people do is they can also be selling maps to other players by listing those over here in popular channels and also Discord. And as they do this, a lot of the maps they sell can worth over 1 to 2 divine. I have bought over 10 divine worth of gold. I know those are selling very fast. So if you guys are not sure how to trade and also sell those items, make sure you see this video as I teach you guys the basics. Now at the same time, the example of the Discord I use over here is TFT. TFT is not associated to the official developers, of course, and you can use any Discord or gaming groups to be selling for items. It is important, guys, no matter what you do as you trade, be aware of scammers, because as you trade with other players, there is a lot of scammers in Path of Exile 2, unfortunately. And you can see the example over here. This map by itself sells for 0.8 Exalt. And yes, you can try to sell tier 15 maps for higher as well. And some players are selling the higher tier maps for 1, 3, or 5 Exalt each in bulk. As you can see in some of the trade channels, you can see people are selling maps, and you can see how much they're selling for those maps. So now that we had a look at the map selling, there's also a method of bulk selling certain trial keys. That's right, the trial keys you see over here, most people are trying to buy those for 1 Exalt. but I have had a friend who started to buy them for 1 regular orb or 1 Exalted. So let me show you guys over here. So what you can see is you can be filtering those trial keys with regular orbs, and a lot of players actually sell them for regular orbs. Look at this, 6 regular orbs. But sometimes you can pick up those for cheaper and then you resell them for 1, 2 or 3 Exalted orbs. Doesn't seem to be a big profit, right? So the friend actually did this, made around 0.5 to 1 divine doing this method for 10 minutes. His secret strategy is that he's asking the seller if they have more of those keys. And usually they have 1, 5 or 10 keys. So he's buying those in bulk and then selling those in bulk for a massive profit. And this is a secret to be bulk buying items and then selling them together. Now you might be wondering, why are people buying those trial keys? It's because of this farming method we spoke about in the previous video. Now during that video, I was a little rushed and there was some calculation errors during the time it takes to do the trials and also the efficiency of it. I will be making a new video to teach you guys this fully, because I have had a friend, he loved this method so much. For the past 20 days, he has been farming the trial of chaos, and he made over 700 divines in finding the soul cores, in finding items, and he also found a mirror. I'm not joking, guys. He has the screenshots, everything's over there. He's got all the calculation, all the data of doing the trials for 20 days, making over close to 1,000 divine. And what is going to happen is very soon he's going to share us with his recordings and also method and also his farming strategies should you want to do the trial of chaos. So he is actually buying a lot of those keys in bulk. He's buying them for 1 to 2 divine, and this is why it is worth the time to be bulk selling those to players who actually want to do the trials, because it is very profitable. You can see the previous video on the basic method, but I'll be updating this one in the future as well to teach you guys even more method and also strategies in getting profit in the trial dungeons. Now, as we keep going, yes, there's a lot of method. I'll tune it down a little bit, try to cut the video a little shorter. So if you are into crafting or want to learn crafting, we do have a beginner's guide to crafting that teaches you guys all the stages of crafting with a live demonstration of me crafting amulets, which are later sold for over 10 divines now. So what is happening is you can be buying item with a good affix on it and then with open affix. As you buy those items, as you craft it with exalted orbs, if you fail the crafting or get very unlucky, you usually can sell it for the same price. Usually we buy those for 20 or 30 exalt and selling for the same price. Sometimes you can double, triple or even quadruple the money invested selling them for 1, 2 or even 10 divine orbs if you hit the right affix. In my live demonstration, I always try to get +3 to minion skills and also spirit on the amulet. I did not get any super lucky ones, but I sold most of those for additional profit for 1 divine. So it is profitable even if you don't hit the jackpot. Now we do have another video to teach you guys even more advanced method of crafting. So here we learned a player who started with 1 divine who made over 1,000 divines and even a mirror using this crafting method. So make sure you check out those guys that is available in the links. Now, as we keep going, I know I covered a lot of method that doesn't involve fighting in the game. So here we have a collection of guides that helps you to get more resource as you fight in the game. And this is to find the cathedrals. We have had a previous video to look at some players' method in spawning more cathedrals and also method why you are not finding your cathedrals. So make sure you check out those 2 videos if you want to be finding more cathedrals. Not cathedrals. Citadels. Oh my gosh, I always say cathedrals for some reason in the recordings. The first time I caught myself saying it. So citadels, guys, citadels. So citadel farming. And here you can see this video of how you can be choosing up your citadels for 3 times the fragment job. So usually if you don't do this correctly, you only get 1 fragment. If you're getting 3 fragments per citadel, you're making 2 to 7 divines for each of the citadels you find, which is extremely profitable. And make sure you guys check out those methods because there's a lot of ways to find more citadels and also clues in finding them and also how to farm them with juiced up maps. Now we mentioned earlier that you can be gambling in the game, but in order to understand gambling, please do watch this video as I shared over 400, 500 gambling attempts from different streamers and over 20, 30 million gold attempts in gambling. Now, if you don't have the time to watch this video, let's have a summary. It is more profitable when you're gambling with gold and then crafting onto those amulets that you gambled. And this way you can be making 5 to 30 Exalt or even 1 to 2 Divines with the Gambit amulets. And if you do find the sellable amulets, usually it's 1 out of 10 and 1 out of 20, this can be very profitable even if you don't hit the Astral Realms people are looking for. But if you hit the massive jackpot, as you're going to see in this video, you can sell that amulet for over 120 or 150 Divine. So in summary, you want to be gambling with gold and then crafting the items you gambled for the biggest profit. Now over here I do want to mention, one of the best ways of making currency in the game is advanced crafting. We talk about this video of how players were making over thousands of Divines. And in the future videos, I'll be learning and also teaching you guys how to use Omens, Greater Essence, Chaos Orbs, and also Orb of Annulment to be gambling for advanced method. So stay tuned for this one. Now I mentioned earlier that you can be crafting 6 link gems. So what I want to warn you guys first is this is a slow turnover. So even though it may be profitable, it might take you 1 to 2 days to sell one of those 6 link gems, but it still sells. So what is the method? Firstly, let's find a popular Mattjestic link gem, and you should price check it. And once you price check the item, if the item's price is at 3 or 4 Divine or higher than 3 Divine, and it is not overly supplied with over 10,000 of those gems, then you might want to consider crafting this one with lesser jewelers, greater jewelers, and also perfect jewelers for a profit. So how does this work? Coming over to this short Excel calculation, I didn't really do the overlays, but you guys can see over here. So the cost of a 6 link of any gem is the cost of the perfect jewelers, the greater jewelers, and also even the gem cutters. The cost of those mini ones is not that worth it. The lesser jewelers, they come pretty much for free. So if you add up all of those costs in today's market price, it is around 323 Exalted Orbs. But people are selling those 6 link gems usually for 3 Divine. So what is the difference and what is the profit margin is the price in Divine. If the price in Divine is 120, you can see there is a profit margin in Divine. So you can be selling those items for 3 Divine and then selling the Divine for your Exalted Orbs, making the difference in profit. And the profit of course will be here with 3 minus whatever is here if it's selling for 3. Oh, I did not do this correctly. Oh boy, what did I do? Let me fix this up. So yes, the profit margin will be this number multiplied by the amount of Divines worth, and the profit margin will be 37 Exalted Orbs. But as the price of Divine falls, the profit margin will fall because those prices will change, right? So as you adjust for those numbers, you'll be able to see the profit margin by using this simple calculator. Now finally, I do have a small tip of a method that I want to show you guys live as a demonstration. So what is this method is that I'm actually creating cursed gems, and I do find them to be the best profitable gems. I'm creating cursed gems that is over level 15, and here as an example you can see I will be creating vulnerability gem, and notice I can't create vulnerability gem because I'm using vulnerability gem. So if I take the vulnerability out of the gem socket, I can then create a new vulnerability gem, and this starts with 2 link. This is very cheap to do, and I'm sure you guys will have a lot of gems that is stashed up over here. So notice there's a lot of gems. How you can turn those gems into profit is using this simple method. So I'm going to use lesser jewelers plus Val Orbs to get some cheap 5 link gems. And due to the corruptions, I'm looking for around the investment of 3 to 5 exalts and making back 10 to 15 exalts by selling those orbs, or by selling those 5 link jewels. So let me show you guys over here. So you saw earlier that I was making those ones. Usually I make a bunch of vulnerabilities, I make some flammabilities, and also hypothermia, and also conductivity. Hypothermia and conductivity don't sell as well as vulnerability and also flammability. And you can see the proportion. We have 20 over here as a demonstration. I'll be using lesser jewelers, and lesser jewelers give them 1 additional socket. This is actually super cheap to get, and those are pretty much 1 exalt or 2 exalt to get all that. So notice all of them now have 4 links or 3 sockets. And finally, I'll be valving them. And as long as I hit just 1 5 link, and I'll make my money back. Let's have a look over here. So what I do is I come over to my 10 stash, and I'll be looking over here. Oh, can we get lucky? Whoa. Oh, there you go. We got 1. And I got my money back. Oh, not so lucky this time. Usually I get 2 to 3, but this time I only got 1. So this one, I'll be listing this one for 50 Exalt. And all in all, the price of me getting those items, everything is less than 10 Exalt. So I'll be making my money back. But sometimes you get super lucky, you get 2 or 3 of the 4 links or 5 links, and you can be selling them for a lot. Around this time, you can also get +1 to skill levels, which is also really good. And this one sells for about maybe 1 to 2 Exalt. Like this one over here, +1 to skill levels, and -1 is not good. The quality, you don't really need that. So let's have a look. I got another +1, there's a +1. So this particular tab, this one is set to 15 Exalt, and the rest of them is gonna be set for 3 Exalt. So those 3 I'm selling for 3 Exalt, this one I'm selling for 15 Exalt. And trust me guys, I have made over a few divines just doing that. And every time I'm short on one, I sold one, I'll make a bunch, and I keep doing this. And because the price of buying lesser jewelers and also Val Orbs are super cheap, you're actually pretty profitable, but the only downside is it is pretty slow to sell them. It takes 1 to 2 days to sell them, but this is extra profit as you play the game, you sell a bunch of Val gems in doing so. Now over here, I also have some recommendations to not do gambling because we'll cover this in future videos. You probably only want to do gambling when you're super rich. And at the same time, I'll be covering more guide on mapping, breaches, tributes, and also chaos trials in the future as I mentioned in the previous video. I don't want to make this video too long and I want to share everything with you guys. So here we'll have the notes available, so make sure you guys use the links below to have access to all of the guides I mentioned earlier. And this will help you to pick the best method that suits you. Whether you want to be trading, you want to be crafting, you want to be selling rare items, or you just want to find cathedrals, we have a method for you. And in the future, I'll be finding more methods related to the endgame farming and also method, and also jackpot gambling. So this will be a mega guide that is a work in progress for all of the ways in making currencies in Path of Exile 2. Now hopefully you guys found today's video helpful. Again, a big thank you to everyone on YouTube, especially our supporters and also those of you guys who's been supporting me on Patreon as well. And we do have a new feature on the Mattjestic YouTube channel. If you click onto this, you can become a member. Yes, I've added this just recently, and this will allow you to have early access to videos that is posted a few hours or even half a day earlier if you want to watch those videos a little early. But yes, this will cost money. So please be aware the membership will cost money. And if you do want to watch videos normally, those videos will still be available after 6 to 12 hours, normally on the time we post those videos. And I do want to say a thank you and also welcome to our latest YouTube members over here as well. And thank you for supporting me guys. And I'll be aiming to post at least one Path of Exile video a day, and this will be including guides, tips, news update, and also the latest tricks that is discovered on both the English and also Chinese community to keep you guys updated. And if you like those videos, make sure you leave a nice comment and also leave a like for those videos. Now before we finish, if you guys haven't subscribed, this is a really good time to do so because I'll be looking into the latest Path of Exile 2 news on different communities and also on our official forum, official webpage. I'll also be looking into the best build for each of the class as the meta develops with the Chinese and also the English community. So stay tuned for the latest update and also guides for Path of Exile 2. And of course, this is gonna be a big month for us. And I'll try to bring you guys all of the latest content and also guides for Path of Exile 2 to come.